Hi again. In this session, I'm going to talk about being a musician, a performer, and an artist, and the similarities and differences in those things. When I started off playing when I was younger, in my teens and 20s, I definitely defined myself as a musician, and that role included reproducing pieces of music that were given to me. That might be my Bach or my Beethoven or a music theatre song or a jazz song. It also might have been a participant in a contemporary theatre work. And then as I got older, I started thinking that the word musician didn't define everything that I am, and that in a role I might be performing quite a lot, or I may not actually be singing all the time, but I'm still on stage. And so I engaged a lot with the idea of performer, and what is that idea of me on stage and an audience out there watching me. And the definition of musician doesn't encompass all of those things. So I started thinking of myself more as a performer. And then it took until I got into my 40s to embrace the idea that actually I was an artist. And the definition of artist for me was someone who's making their own work, and in that process is making decisions. So making very clear decisions that are based on my aesthetic or my ideas that I'm interested in, or an effect that I'm trying to get. And as I move through my professional life, those three roles are often always present, and might all be present in different ways on the same day. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how you move through your life in these different modes, what might be useful in that. I think there's an element of being in Melbourne and our geographic location that encourages me to be musician, performer and artist. Melbourne's a long way away from any other city, and a big thing that I'm going to talk about is the yes, I can do that. Yes, I'd like to do that. If I was living in Europe or in America, and I know a lot of other performers like this as well, you might be able to be a piano player focusing on one type of music and have a whole career as that. I think it's more difficult in Melbourne. We don't have the audience. It's expensive to travel to any other show, whereas when I've toured in Europe, it's just a little village away to the next concert. But we don't have that here. So it's touring, and how you work as a musician is quite different here, I think. So geography plays a part, I think, in how your career is shaped. So one of the things that I've done all through my career is being a performer or a musician in someone else's work. So people come to me, or I'm asked to audition to be in a work, and my role is to help them make the work that they want to do. So sometimes I'm the lead in that, and sometimes I'm an ensemble member. And for me to do that, I need to be a fully prepared musician. I need to know my scales. I need to know my pieces. I need to know all my skills. I need to have my yes, I can do that hat on, so that I am the most effective ensemble member that I can possibly be. So often I'm in a project and I might disagree with something that the conductor says, or I might say, I wouldn't do it that way in my mind. But then I ask myself, are they asking me for my opinion, or am I here to serve the vision of that conductor, or am I here to serve the vision of that director? And I have to be very clear that I don't always know what's going on in their head or what their long view vision is. Occasionally, or quite often, it depends on the project, I'm asked to be in the project because of what I think, because I'm also an artist. And I find that I'm just giving ideas all the time because they're being invited. And again, it's about being aware of what's being asked of me for their project. Some of the skills that will really help you in those situations, and I've just listed them here, are being able to sight read and to sight sing, transcribe, transpose songs, memorize pieces, read and understand the accompaniment or what the other instruments are doing. Being prepared as a working musician, being instead of saying, oh, I've got no work, or I don't know where this is going, Keep working on all your skills. I can't encourage you enough to keep doing that. An example, last year I got a phone call, Carolyn, are you available? Opening night is in 6 nights. Our musical director can't be in the show as of now because of family reasons. We need someone who can rehearse the ensemble, play the instruments, do the harmonies, sing, and our dress rehearsal is in our bump-in dress rehearsal is in 3 days. And I said, yes, I think I can do it, give me 2 hours. And I went back, looked at my diary and said, yes, and I called them back and I said, yes, I can do it. They gave me some charts with some chords scribbled on it. They gave me a couple of audio of rehearsals they'd had and just sent them all to me. And I worked over the weekend transcribing them all, so writing the chords, charting out the songs, learning the parts, learning my own part. And I turned up at my very first rehearsal was the dress rehearsal, where I conducted the dress rehearsal. I couldn't have done that 20 or 25 years ago, but all the work I've done and all the preparation I've done meant that I could say, yes, I can do that. If you want to be a part of a creative culture where you're playing music and you're embedded in the arts practice of where you live, know what you can say yes to and have all your skills ready. One of the things you can do is get together a book of your music. It could be your songs or your pieces if you're an instrumentalist, and they're your show pieces, the pieces that you love, that you connect to. There might be a piece in there that you did for an exam 3 years ago. It may not be something you're working on now, but it's something that you perform really, really well, or it shows off one of your particular skills really well. You might want a ballad there, a slow piece, a very fast, showy piece, and start building your book so that if you're at a party, you can just get up and perform. Someone might say, can you perform at my sister's wedding? And you're ready to do that. You can say, yes, I can do that. I'd love to do that. There might be an audition coming up, and often you don't get much notice on auditions. Someone might get sick and you may be able to step into the breach because you have your songbook or your workbook of all your pieces, and you can, you're prepared. It's also a good idea to have all of that material online so that if it's working in a band or an ensemble, or you need an accompanist, you can send that straight through to someone if you're working on a really short deadline. The more prepared I am, the luckier I get.